Right, well, hello and welcome to DMQs. It's a bit like Prime Minister's Question Time, but with our Dungeon Master. So instead of PMQs, it's DMQs. That's what we're doing right now. With me, your host, Drumbo Baggins, a.k.a. Shania Rain, a.k.a. many other things. And also we're talking with Dan Thompson, who is our Dungeon Master,
well,
our
hello,
DM.
Hello there, Drummond. Thank you for having me in the studio tonight.
You're very welcome.
I like what you've done with the place.
I know. I spread a bunch of stuff around the place, made it look gamey, so it's a bit like living in a pheasant.
Yeah, the fireplace is a nice touch. I think it's...
I know. It's warming, isn't it?
I don't know why we have to be wearing dressing gowns for it, but...
Well, that's so that if I open my legs, you can see everything.
I can confirm that, listeners. I can see everything.
Good. Okay, well, I'm just going to sit back and toke on my pipe a little bit here. Okay, so to the questions then.
Why are we doing... I got a question. Why are we doing this show, Drummond? What's the idea here?
It was your idea.
I know. Throwing it back to you there. Trying to
step under the bus there.
Trying not to do everything.
I don't know, for extra pause, people might want to know, a peek behind the curtain, as you've mentioned many times. That's one of your phrases, isn't it? Peek behind the curtain. That's what we're doing now, just in case people are interested in, what goes into it, or just other weird stuff that I'm going to ask you about, which you'll find out about shortly.
All right, so you've got some questions for me about the show and about the adventure that we've been on.
I do. So,
all right.
So you are the DM. We are the Shadow Cabinet, I suppose.
Okay.
Asking you questions. The Shadow Club, maybe.
Right.
So my first question, Dan, is what happened to Gentle Dan? And should we review his facial hair? Now, to explain this question...
What?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, hold back a second. What I'm saying is, we've been playing, as I'm sure many of our listeners know, for quite some time, about just over 5 years. And in that time, I always felt like Dan was quite giving Dungeon Master, quite there were definite moments, especially sort of first, second campaign, when people should have died and they didn't, because he knew how much we cared about the characters, and now we started a podcast, and ever since the podcast started, Dan has gotten bloodthirsty. Yeah, I mean, he talks a lot about how much he's going to kill us, and he's really, he's really sharpened his tools, and as anyone will know who's been listening to it, has come very close to killing us already, and we're only on our first adventure. So what I'm asking is, what's changed, and are we in a darker timeline? Which is why I'm asking about your facial hair.
I see. Have I got the dark goatee? Well, yeah, we've been playing Pathfinder for years now. We've been playing a lot of different games, and we started learning it together. And we've had a couple of big, long campaigns. We never played an adventure path, the big, long ones, but we played some long homebrew games and long sets of modules and other adventures. And I have, in the past, I admit, been weak-willed. And there have been moments where characters should maybe have died, or bad things should have happened. And it is a nice thing. It's a thing you can do as a DM. If you're running the game, it is up to you, you can occasionally tilt that. If you think that the way somebody has... It's not always died, but the way something has gone, if you think that it's bad for the story, because ultimately it's about having a good story and everyone having a good time, you can sometimes just kind of fudge that roll a little bit, or
so in the same way that someone who is running a game of some kind, I don't know, perhaps I don't know off the top of my head, the Crystal Maze, might think that someone should really have been out of the room, like the time has kind of run out, but you're the one holding the clock. None of their teammates really know how much time has passed, and if your 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 gets a little bit slower than the real clock, and it just about gives them enough time, that's actually a better way to go. What you're saying is sometimes it's a choice you make.
That is a very specific example.
It is a really
specific, almost like you have first-hand experience of the Crystal Maze there, Drummond.
Weird, that isn't it?
Strange.
I don't know how.
Yeah, it's a nice... This is the thing you have to remember. There's a there's a phrase about running Pathfinder, about running any role-playing game, which I really love, which says DMing is about laughing at your friends about how you're going to kill them while secretly plotting their happy endings.
That's very nice.
It's a little bit, ultimately, you're not, and some people do play the game like this, and some players like to play the game like this, where they just want to have a fight, and they want to win. It's a game, it's a competition between the DM, and it's about who wins, and that's a way you can play it. It's never a way I've enjoyed playing it. It's about creating a story that we're all enjoying, and so sometimes, yeah, you can fudge it. But in this campaign, I just hate your characters so much, and I just want them all to... No,
because I was going to say, because really my question was a passive-aggressive way of asking what's changed since doing the podcast. So yeah, hit me with it.
Yeah, it dawned on me that we've been playing now for quite a long time. We've been playing for about 5 years. So we are better at playing the game than we were, and we're more aware of how the game works and of the consequences of it. And I don't want the game to lack that element of consequences. I don't want it to lack that drama that comes from knowing that these characters that we're invested in, they could die, and I imagine it will happen. I think we are going to lose a player character at some point, maybe sooner than we think, which will be a really sort of heavy thing. But then that's more story. That's how do people deal with that? How do we move on from that? So yeah, I have been very fair on it, but also because I know that we've got hundreds of people listening to this who will write in if they know that I've completely fudged a rule too in order to let you get away with something that you shouldn't have.
Very true. All right. So what you're saying is, there's maybe a little bit of added pressure on you to play by some of the more specific rules. But also now that there's added pressure on us because we're recording it and we're thinking about everything we say more, that you're being tougher on us. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Dan. All right, great. So anyway,
we're all friends.
Having mentioned that, I'd like to make a reference to the campaign itself, if I could.
Cool.
You mentioned early on as sort of episode 2. Well, episode 2 it happened. Episode 3 you talked about it. That the dragon that was not a dragon. It was a lizard of some kind. Essentially written in the module you've got. They didn't think we were going to kill it. No one thought we were going to kill it. We did kill it. What I want to ask you is, when you're playing with a bunch of fuckheads like us, how hard is it to keep us on track? And what part of the adventure so far has given you the most trouble to sort of push us in the direction that you need us to go?
Poor Draco. It's... Murder's Mark is, which is the module we've been playing, is a very open module. It's kind of why I picked it, because it's very sandboxy, and it means you can kind of go anywhere you like, and you can do things in different orders and go off the grid a little bit. And I really like that about it, because it lets us play a bit more and it lets us be more creative with stuff. But yeah, it does mean that sometimes it is harder to get you guys to do kind of not necessarily what the module wants, because the module's quite forgiving. The way it's written is things happen in a particular order because there are other characters in the world and they're doing stuff. And like, I know sometimes there's been frustration of like, oh, stuff's happened while we're asleep, and it's because there's more of the enemies than there are of you, and they can work night shifts, so they're doing stuff over this time, whether you would get involved in it or not. And you kind of just interact with the story as it goes on. So that's how it kind of keeps a bit of momentum to it. But yeah, sometimes there are... killing the dragon wasn't a big part. It was just funny to me that the module guide doesn't even assume that you will kill... It assumes that as level 1 characters, you won't do that much damage, and you won't kind of try and do it. You'll just kind of take a couple of hits on it. It'll just kind of shrink back and it would, at the end of one round, I think it would have just backed away if you'd done any damage to it, really. But...
You killed it too quickly.
Yeah, you guys just blitzed it in seconds.
What does that say about our characters, do you think, Dan?
It says that, like in almost every game I've ever played with you guys, you have built a completely glass cannon damage front-loaded party where you come in, do insane damage in your first round, and then I'm left wondering if I can help you survive for the rest of the encounter because you've got no defense.
All right.
But no, there have been a lot of bits that have kind of were changed. The hardest bit in this adventure was the Skulk Cave. That was the hardest part of it, because that is not in Murder's Mark at all. It is.
So that was homebrew from you.
Yeah, the whole bit Journey to the Skull Cave was homebrew because Murder's Mark doesn't because you guys really, really latched onto the skulks. The skulks are not as big a part in Murder's Mark, I think, as they became in this story.
They're a massive part of the story.
They were your whole.
They're huge.
They were your whole thing. And the adventure focuses more on sort of other things you can do, like going and examining the bodies and sort of crime stuff. But you hit on this idea of we want to go to find out where the skulks are. So it was a good chance to bring Fardeen back into the story because we really liked Fardeen.
Love Fardeen.
And that was done on the spot. That was he wasn't going to be in that episode. And then in that moment, I was like, Fardeen's coming back, and we just did that little bit to get him back in there. But it meant I had to kind of write the encounter with the skulks in there. And it was quite a dangerous encounter for a group of level 1 characters. You know, you were walking into a dark cave with 4 people who had sneak attack.
Very dangerous.
And you weren't really that focused on where they were. You know, I was genuinely worried we were going to have a wipe in like episode 8.
We're lucky they were super high.
Yeah, they were.
Or at least wanting to be super high.
But we ended up getting some nice character stuff out of that because you got to see the actual skulks, who you, other than the 2 that you kill in the lockbox in the sort of standard module, you never see any of the rest of the tribe. So you get to get an idea of the impact that the Shiver has had on them, which I really liked.
And I thought that was a nice part of the story, and also it showed for the first time some of our own weaknesses within our own party as well. That was the first time that some of that came out. So yeah. Lovely, good stuff. All right, I'd like to move on to. We've got a few questions now from listeners.
What?
Yeah, we have
from the Dangerlings.
Right, from the Dangerlings, no less. The first question we've got from the Dangerlings is. Do we have any plans for guest players in future episodes? That is from Eshi. Would like to know that.
Eshi, where's Eshi writing in from?
I have no idea. You'd have to.
From Omaha, Nebraska.
From Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know. It's a friend of Ross's. Ask Ross. He's not here right now, so we'll find out at another point. Hi, Eshi.
Hey, Eshi.
How you doing? So field the question.
Plans for guest spots.
They're from Massachusetts.
Oh, Eshi.
Welcome to the podcast, Scott Wilson Besgrove.
Hiya.
I'm always here.
Lurking.
Always here.
Do you see us?
I see you.
Thanks, man.
It just came out of the mantelpiece. That was so strange.
Like a skull.
A skull. Yeah, Eshi, we guest spots is something we would love to do at some point. We know some just really, really talented performers that we would love to have on the show at some point and share some of this adventure with. It's taken a bit of working out, partly because we want to get everyone to know the main cast and the main characters first, but also, you know, we got 5 characters, so that is already one more than the standard adventuring party. So there's already a bit of work going into the difficulty of the encounters and making sure that they're right for sort of 5 characters. You get that up to 6, and that suddenly becomes a whole thing. So it is something we want to do. I don't know when, but watch this space, and when we get a chance, if it's the right thing for a special, then we'll definitely be getting some cool actors in.
Good stuff.
We did just to add to what Dan was saying, we did have a very rough shortlist of who we wanted ideally to have in first to guest. But if you are asking because you are keen and you think you have a good angle or hook on our story, or really want to get involved for some reason, then write in or something, man. If you're desperate to get involved, you think you've got a brilliant hook that might help Dan out or something like that, then there's always a slight chance that you might, bring something else to the story.
We love people getting involved, right?
Yeah, if you want to get involved, we love that. We love interactions. If you want to, then we'll see, maybe.
Tweet Danger Club Pod, dangerclubpodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. We'll have a look.
Nice.
But,
or you could, like our next Dangerling did, write a handwritten letter. Yeah, a handwritten letter to the Danger Club.
Wow.
Here it comes. Listen to this. I'm going to read verbatim. My most dearing of darlings, Mr. Danstable Tom Swish. I am a long-time listener, first-time letterer. I am of the most enjoyment to your wit and ways. My admiration is of the highest count towards your brain fastness. Tell me, please, if you may, for whom you have a softness of the heart within the club. Could it be a most lovable lunk of dwarfness, Fulton? Or, may it be, you would find a wistfulness towards the smooth words of a handsome elf named M.Z.? Could it be the short, rugged wildliness that explodes upon every encounter, cross-dressing Caragor? Or perhaps cranky miser pants of feeble magics, Velda? Or, most likely, the mysterious und madcap und sexy vulnerable, yet fierce und independent Shania? Of these, who is for the most certain to be upon your favours, and what favours might be done by them upon yourself? This will in no ways affect any of the things that will happen. Kind regards, Cronaya Stain. It's handwritten, signed with a possible kiss. Looks like it might be with lipstick, could be blood. So, yeah, from Cronaya Stain.
Philippe.
Philippe's gonna...
Yeah, screw all of those guys. Philippe the Devil Monkey is my guy.
He's your guy.
That's the goal, is to gradually kill all of you guys off, and then Philippe and I are going to have our own spin-off podcast just about his monkey adventures.
Dan and the Monkey.
Dan and the Monkey. He's in Curious George. It's going to be that, but with a satanic monkey. I like all of you guys. You know, I love that everyone has had some great moments. I really love Fulton and Shania's moment from I think episode 10. That was just a beautiful bit of character stuff. But everyone has had those little moments where they've kind of, you know, cried to face or sort of thinking back to backstories or hints about things that are sort of involved in their past. You know, there's been some just really nice moments from everyone, and it's been really nice getting feedback from people who've listened to the show, and everyone's got a different favourite character. You know, everyone loves a different person, except Fulton. No one likes Fulton. It's just a difficult... it's hard when he's not here. You can't be mean to him when he's not here. Hopefully he'll get back and we can just say it to his face.
Yeah, then we can lay right into him. Okay, so listen, the next section that I've got is... You've read Empire magazine before.
I have. I am familiar with Empire.
And you've read the Metro, that free paper around London town and other towns. So in those, they have sections. One is called How Much is a Pint of Milk? The other one's 60-second interview. So this section here is 10 quick questions, which I would like you to elaborate on, but you have to be swift about it. All right, so we got to get through it fairly quickly.
Here's the challenge.
There's 10 questions.
I really thought you were going to do Rush Hour Crush.
Rush Hour Crush. Oh, it fell off my chair.
Again, Philippe.
Is your Rush Hour Crush? Good to know. So, these are your pint of milk questions. All right, here we go. So, fairly quick. Obviously, you know,
quick fire. I got
you. Question number 1. What area of the Pathfinder world do you know best and why?
River Kingdoms, but I'm learning Varicia because of this.
Okay, good. Question number 2. What rule would you change? What is the bane of your life as a DM/GM? What would you change? What sticks in your craw the most?
Attack of opportunity. It's something which is being changed in Pathfinder Volume Edition 2, which is being play tested at the moment. Yeah, I think it locks everyone in. I don't like that people can't move around during combat. I would give it just to fighters, which is what Paizo have done. So thank you, Paizo.
Good stuff. Okay, question number 3. What is your favourite race? It's not a trick question. I mean, within obviously the world of Pathfinder. First of all, to play, and then to DM.
I have a big love for dwarves. I often play dwarves. I play Catfolk in the one campaign I actually get to play in. To DM, I'd say anything but Drow. They're complicated.
Yes, we have taken notice of this, thank you.
They're complicated. No, I like elves. I do like DMing, which is dumb because we've got no elves in the group. But I like anything with a kind of a slightly alien take.
All right, so same question, but about class this time.
Favorite class? Yeah. I used to always play a wizard because if you go from DMing to playing, suddenly the lack of rules is scary and weird. So go for the thing with the most rules and the most things you can do is quite natural. I'm getting really into playing a paladin now, though. I'm liking those extreme alignments.
Cool. All right. Do you have a signature dish that you cook?
Do I have a signature dish that I cook? I cook a very good pasta with chestnuts and pancetta, which I will have to serve for a game sometime. Well, we never play at mine because I live above a railway, so
True.
It's not great acoustics.
Okay, question number 6. Do you have a nickname, or is there one you would like?
Oh, I feel like I'm sure I have several. I don't look at our Twitter enough to see. I see occasional ones that Scott puts on the Twitter.
Go ahead.
Dungeon Master.
Ha! Dungeon Master. There we go.
That's gold. I really like that.
Nice. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Question number 8. What was the first game you ever DM'd? Give us a very quick overview. So what age were you? Who'd you play with? What kind of stuff happened? Very quick.
My God. I have been running games since I was in school, since I was a kid. And not even like pre-D&D, not pre-release of D&D, but before we knew D&D was a thing, we would just play games which were effectively role-playing games, but without character sheets or rules. And you'd just make stuff up, and you'd ask people what they were going to do, and you'd just decide. You'd usually say pick a number between 1 and 10, and that's your kind of. And if they pick the number you're thinking of, then they've succeeded.
But how old were you when you did?
I would have been like 13 years old when I was still doing this, just hanging around the playground. Usually setting Warhammer because, Warhammer.
Why not?
13.
Yeah, good. All right. Quick question here. Who's going to die first in this campaign and why?
This is awkward because the way we're recording this, when it goes out, someone may have died already. So you're asking me to predict within the next one who's going to go first. I'm going to have to go purely because of the low hit points. Probably Velda, just because it is so easy to die at low levels when you have low hit points.
If you've guessed this right, and he's already died by the time this comes out, you're going to win loads of danger points, right?
Burn the witch, burn him. He's a prophet.
And finally, just to see that you're still on planet Earth with all your pathfinding pals. Yeah. How much is a box of orc miniatures?
Nice.
Oh my God! Well, from Games Workshop or
Games Workshop,
whatever that is called now. Like £100. Like they are. No, like I don't know. Like they go back to plastic stuff. I'm going to say £15 for a box of orc miniatures from Games Workshop.
I mean, you said 100. You said 15. £30.
But.
Yeah,
£30 is a reasonable amount to play to support your hobby.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to find it's really hard to actually lock that down, to be honest. It took a lot of research.
Yeah, do you specify like Citadel miniatures because they are premium top price, or do you like talk about the miniatures from...
So these are ones I looked up online. I was looking for like a horde of orcs online. These were, and you couldn't find just orcs unless you were going into Middle Earth characters. So these are from the Middle Earth.
I see.
But as I looked across, £30 seemed about the right sort of.
That search string would definitely have returned some Citadel miniatures from
Warhammer. It has been so long since I've played Warhammer. I went into one of their shops to try and get a miniature for a D&D game. And I was just like, what has happened here? This is like and they're like, yeah, everything's changed. The past stuff is in the future now, and the future stuff is in the past. And I was like, you know what? I'll buy it online.
All right, so back into some let's see, some more classic questions. All right,
classic.
Here's a classic question for you. Mm-hmm. Which actors would play the Danger Club characters?
Oh, great question.
Yeah, and I think the other people.
We need some help from this.
Dan first,
people who are around the area.
So, who do you think, Dan?
So I reckon I'd like to see. I think I'd like to see Fulton played by Robert Carlyle. Like a small Robert Carlyle doing his best kind of. He did he played James the First once and a mad King James, and that was excellent. Caragor, I guess I don't want to just go with someone from Game of Thrones because of the accent.
Yeah, I thought about that. It's too easy. I thought about it a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And sort of because of who he is, Jason Statham. right?
Nice.
But like a Jason Statham who can maintain an accent, right?
Okay.
And is really fucking friendly throughout. I reckon that's the right level for Caragor. I'm not 100% sure. If anyone's got a better idea, that's absolutely fine.
Nice. I kind of want to. I feel like part of me feels that Shania should be played by, like someone impossibly glamorous. And part of me wants Shania to be played by John Cleese in drag. It's a real sort of toss up with the. I think it's just.
I was going to go Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph
Yeah.
We've already got Velda's actor, haven't we?
Oh, have we?
Who's
we
Velda?
decided.
Who is it?
Victor Meldrew.
Oh yes.
Who's the guy that plays him? Because Victor Meldrew's a character.
I know. I can't
yeah.
remember his actual name.
Richard
but that guy.
Wilson, I believe.
Richard
Well
Wilson.
done, yes.
There we go.
those
Did
of
you
you
just
couldn't
get
hear-
up from your bed, James, and say, I don't believe it?
Literally is exactly what happened. James just got up and went, have you know?
Oh, boy.
Oh my goodness.
Good stuff. What about MZ?
Yeah, MZ.
MZ.
He's got to be the sexy, good-looking one, isn't he?
Yeah, MZ has got to be like MZ's like the cool one. MZ's like a rapper who has got a part in it to kind of sell the movie. Like that's that.
Oh, I was gonna go. I can't remember his name.
Macklemore.
No. It's lost. I'm never going to remember.
Let's play charades. Describe it. How many syllables?
He was in the sitcom about aliens, Third Up from the Sun.
John Lithgow?
No, not John Lithgow.
Hip hop John Lithgow.
Hip Gal. No, the kid.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's where I was going to go. Yeah.
Spouting hip hop throat with a backwards cat. He's too
Okay.
gravelly. Hello. It wouldn't work.
Right. So let's see what else we got here.
This is fun. Let's do this
got-
every week. Let's quit our jobs.
Okay. So a couple more questions from Dangerlings. It's another one from Eshi. Eshi was actually the only person that wrote this.
Hey, Eshi.
Hi Eshi, thanks for asking us questions.
I know, I've got a question as well.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Would you do a character hot seat?
Will we do a character hot seat? Well, we have sort of someone dropping in and out. That's kind of similar to the guest question, I guess.
Well, no, I guess like in interviewing a person in character.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting. That would be a fun thing to do. We did do some kind of talking heads bits with characters at the start to like promote the thing, and then we recorded some slightly longer ones, mostly of Shania, because you love to talk, Drummond. So we've got a whole lot of content of Shania talking about her backstory. Yeah, it would be great. Or if it is like getting like somebody coming in and playing a character every now and then, we'll see how everyone's touring schedules go. That's the thing with us all being actors is, sometimes busyness occurs. So, it may sometimes be required to have someone else play a character, but hopefully we'll never get to that. We've managed not so far.
All right, so two more basically, and then I think we're done. So this is the last one from me, and it goes like this: in all your time of DMing, what has been your favourite thing that has ever happened ever?
Oh my god, there have been so many, and so, a lot of them in this campaign. Actually, a lot of really beautiful moments. I think probably my favourite one was in a campaign. I won't talk about it too much because I know it's weird talking about campaigns people haven't played in, but in a campaign where all of you guys, were on a sort of bridge over a deep chasm, and there was some debate over whether you had to jump into the chasm and that was going to be how you progressed with the adventure, or whether jumping into the chasm would just be that you died and it would kill you. And there was a complete split and like almost real world arguments between between people around the group about what they were going to do. And then some of the guys, through an extreme sequence of screw ups, fell off and disappeared, and we were left with just you, Drummond, and Scott's character at the top, who made a pact that they were both going to jump together and got ready to go. Then you had to go off to work and left and went away. And just as Scott was describing how the two of you were about to leap, my phone rang. And it was you on the phone in a panic, just saying, I've changed my mind, I go my own way. And we just had this moment where I put the phone down, and we cut back to the image of just Scott kind of just falling backwards off this cliff and just seeing you shrugging and walking away from him and just leaving him, and that just this moment of betrayal, and also the fact that they were that terrified for the lives of these fictional characters that didn't exist. I love that.
Genuine I couldn't let it happen. I was terrified.
It's why we have the tune. You can go your own way. Go your own way. That was the theme tune for the campaign, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was. It won't be for this one because we're already going to get sued for singing that little bit there.
So final question then, and it comes again from Eshi, and the question has already been answered pretty much. It's saying, any thought about midweek episodes, talking about the stuff that happens behind the scenes, etc., or possibly a guide for dummies to Pathfinder, or, your favourite playthroughs, which is kind of what we've done right now.
You know what, Eshi? I've had such a great time tonight. Yes, let's announce it right now. Let's do it. We're gonna we're all gonna just cut back our jobs.
Yeah.
We're gonna record a second podcast
more DM questions though. Yes.
I seriously probably not right now. I would love to. As we know, all of our favorite shows have a podcast. It's only sensible that a podcast should have a podcast about the podcast. Just have the snake totally eat itself. I love talking about it, and there's so much stuff you could talk about on this, and I would love to have some time to just talk about how much I love Pathfinder and how much and the game and the stuff that goes on behind it, because there is so much interesting stuff, and also to have a forum to talk more with you guys, to hear more questions like this and hear how you're enjoying the show. It would be really great. So it is something we're working on. It's not happening right now, but yeah, maybe in the future, if we can make timings work and recordings, I'd love to.
This is indeed the perfect place for that kind of thing to happen, for us to field your questions and stuff. So we hope that you've... Oh, have we got one?
Have we had a question while we've been recording?
Question?
Yes.
Oh, man.
To be fair, it's a question he's asked before, but I just let him know that there was, in fact, a question and answer session going on right now. He got back to me. This is Miles Eve from the Order of the Cybernetic Badger Striped Earwig.
Yo, Miles.
Shout out.
Thanks for calling, Miles.
He's one of our top Dangerlings, and he loves the show. Hey, Miles. So Miles asks, I'm gonna sort of like paraphrase him because a bit of his question's already been answered, but he was quite interested, having never played any of these games before. He was quite interested in the moment that Sheriff Feldane came into that mansion, and we all tools down in front of her, and there was this standoff. And for a moment, Miles listening, he was like, genuinely, are the Danger Club going to declare war on the police? Will they? And he was like to me, what would happen if the Danger Club just went just full on psycho on the police, killed, because they could have done, killed them, killed the guards, and then went on a rampage? What would have happened? And this is a question to you. He was like, what would have happened in that situation? What would Dan's take would be if we were to kill all the chiefs of police and go rogue? What would what would happen?
I mean, that would have been the darkest timeline. Oh my god, that would have been a lot of work for me. But we'd have run with it. That episode, I don't think you guys know how close you all came to disaster in that little couple of sequences of episodes, because Moncolio had effectively framed you all for the murder of the people in that house, and was on his way out the window to go and get the sheriff and bring her to the house to tell her that you had killed the Brayton family and left only the children alive. And he had the children as witnesses that Fulton had walked into the room. He had everything he needed to shut you guys down, and you'd only recently been quarreling with the sheriff as well. So things were already tense there. So
it almost turned into a courtroom drama, is what you're trying to tell us.
A little bit, yeah. Like, if he'd got away, if Elda hadn't opened that door and seen him getting out the window, if he'd got away, she would have come and tried to arrest you. As it was, she got alerted by neighbours anyway, because of the amount of noise you made fighting him in the garden. The neighbours saw it happening and let her know. But yeah, she would have arrested you, and then it would have been we would have had a whole courtroom scene. It probably would have meant a failure of the actual quest as it was. She probably would have killed Dellison. And the carnival would have disbanded. So it would have been.
She was dead.
If you'd killed Sheriff Feldane and poor Bobby Mack and all of the other, I would have just hand of God killed you all for killing Bobby Mack. If you'd killed those characters for it, then yeah, the campaign would have carried on. But effectively, yeah, that would have been the end of Murder's Mark. You you kill the law. Like the villagers wouldn't have really been able to do anything about it. They're just fishermen. You know, they're no match for you. If you killed the few actual law enforcement people they've got, well, they're not gonna, there's nothing they can do about it. You've killed their guards, so
Very
you can
close
walk
to,
away.
Very close to either our own sort of Law and Order episode or the exact opposite of that,
Yeah.
Chaos and Terror episode.
But that's the great thing about the game, is that there are consequences either way, you know, and it's not that you pick one. It's not a fighting fantasy book where you turn to the correct paragraph or you die. You know, you can turn to any paragraph and the story continues, and we just deal with that. It's the same with characters dying. It's the same with any kind of big stuff happening, and you can have huge crossroads moments where if you happen, the bad guys can win. You know, even in a big campaign. But you can still keep playing those characters' stories because it's about the characters, not the
can be
world.
the bad guys.
You can be the bad guys. I hope
We're
not.
pretty close at the
I hope we
moment.
can pull you back. It's gone pretty dark. There's a guy hanging from a ceiling.
Well, anyway, I hope that this has been a wonderfully enlightening chat for all of the Dangerlings out there. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, let us know. You know, we can do more of this kind of stuff if you dig it. If you don't dig it, then we'll squash it, because why? But hopefully you won't. Hopefully you'll dig it. And thank you very much for listening. And yeah, I guess from DMQs for this evening, I just want to add one more thing, is that I probably should have been calling the how much is a pint of milk, how many tokens for a yak's milk.
Oh!
Oopsie daisy, missed that one, didn't I? Anyway,
So perfect.
fail. Natural one on that. All right, good night.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Bye.
I like that just because of the relaxed format of it, it's definitely at night.